So you started up a conversation with me about some definition of autonomy or something that you have an interest in.
Right.
So
Right.
why the fuck do I care about that?
Well, because if we don't know what we're going to talk about, then you shouldn't give a fuck about that, right?
Okay, so who told you, or what indication did you have that I give two shits about that topic?
Well, you seem to want to precise,
Okay, when did I specifically
the
say that I
moment you
have
opened
any interest?
the moment you expressed a positive cognitive attitude towards some proposition, which was about autonomy. That is
Okay,
when you opened your mouth.
okay, so anytime that I've made a reference to any claim, that is a reference to autonomy.
That is a positive cognitive activity towards a given proposition or phenomena, right? That's a belief. That's a position.
Okay,
Right?
cool. So I have a position. So that told you that I
Right.
wanted to have an entire
Right.
conversation on a topic that you and whatever little big dick beaters that you have to talk about whatever the fuck autonomy is to you guys.
No, I was asking you for your definition, and then when you gave it to me, I
So
asked you.
okay,
Define
wait.
it
What did you
the way
say?
a logic
I'm sorry.
tech.
Could you repeat that again?
Yeah, so I asked you what you mean when you use the word autonomy.
So you asked me for my personal definition of autonomy.
Yes, and
Okay, so
yeah,
what was the purpose of you asking me for my personal definition of that?
because I assumed that you were a logical person and a reasonable person, and probably picked up a semantics textbook or a logic textbook, which explains how to precise, stipulate, and provide lexical definitions in order to precise what you mean when you use that word in a dialogue and an argument.
So when you ask someone for their personal definition, do you know that that's different than a formalized definition, right? You do know there's a
Yeah,
difference. Okay,
yeah,
so
absolutely.
hold on, why would you, knowing that, why would you expect me to give you a lexiconical definition from a textbook if you ask me for my personal definition?
Because I'm not asking, because again, I assumed that you've actually opened up a logic textbook because you're a logical person, right? Have you read a logic textbook?
Sure, I actually own one.
Great, great. Maybe you could tell me which one, right?
Okay, so
We could
how
talk
about
about
this?
that
So
later.
yeah, actually I'll go pick it up right now. Hold on just a second. Just
Sure.
for shits and giggles.
Okay. So I assumed that you knew what I meant, which is probably sloppy on my part to ask you what you meant, because what I was saying is provide me with your precising definition of what autonomy means.
Okay, so if you're going to ask someone what their personal definition is, do you know that that's different than a formal definition? You do know the difference, right?
No, not at all,
Okay,
because
so
word no.
if you don't understand what words mean, you should probably not engage in the conversation
Wait,
where
no, no,
words are
no,
important.
no. Words are invested by the meaning of the speech, the speaker, or the author. It's people that invest words with meaning as tools, whether they're used sloppily or not.
Well,
Now what
and
I
that's
was
cool, and
now what
I
I was
agree
asking
that
you is how are you using that word?
the
I'm
context of
asking
words depend on the person who's saying it. So
I
if you're
agree
asking
with
me
you.
for my definition,
Right.
every indication was for my personal definition of my usage for that term. Is that
What
not?
yeah, what do you mean when you utilize that term? And then if
Okay.
you say, well, it just means rabbit, right? I could say that about any term. Gavagai, Wittgenstein, Tractatus. We can go through
That's
all the
cool.
language
That
here.
is so awesome. That is awesome. So when maybe you're not too familiar with these conversations, I don't browbeat people when they use the
Okay.
word theory when they mean hypothesis. That's fine. I understand that because I find people who do that to be very petty and
Gotcha.
probably have small dicks. So it's not a huge deal. I'm more concerned with the conversation. I don't know about you.
I agree with you. And if we're going to use words, that is written, right, text or speech acts to convey ideas as tools to clarify, well, at least hopefully clarify and get more clear towards what we're trying to communicate in these ideas and concepts, then we probably should have an understanding of how language works, right?
We should
And
have an
how to
understanding of
define our
what each
terms.
other means when we say a word, because I
Yeah,
can use Gavagai to mean the color blue. But
that's right.
me assuming, and this is where you went wrong, you're assuming that my personal definition was the same as a formal one seems odd since you just said you knew the distinction.
Okay, right. Yeah,
So
I don't have any problem with that
that
because I
was something
already
on your part that's a
right.
misstep in the conversation. Do you agree?
That's Yeah, that's because I assumed that you had already read a logic textbook. Have you
Why
read a
would you
logic
assume that
textbook?
I had read an entire logic textbook?
Because I assume you're a logical person, that
Okay,
you might have
logical
looked into
people.
it.
Okay, then that's another assumption. Why is there an assumption that logical people, whatever that is, have to come from those who have read logic textbooks, one or
I'm not
more?
I'm not saying you have to. I'm saying
So
that
why did
if
that
you're going to
stipulation exist when you're
that,
in your outlining of my character? Why did
right.
that stipulation even exist?
Well, first of all, I'm talking about the objective state of affairs. It's a genetic fallacy to appeal to the needs of a person, right? I'm not saying that. I was saying using the principle of charity. Do you know what that is in the realm of logic and
Oh, I'm
discussion?
pretty sure I've been having
It
these
means
discussions
to
for a few years.
interpret. It means to interpret what what the speaker is telling you or what the text is saying in the best and strongest light possible. So I was asking you, based on you being a logical person, I'm just going to assume in the strongest light possible you've read one of these logic textbooks. You know what a precising definition is, so I don't really have to tell you
Well,
unless you
here's
want to
again.
ask me about that,
So
which
here's
I
the
can
problem.
open up a logic textbook with you right now
How
and
many
explain it to you.
how many assumptions did you make in this entire conversation just now? How
A
many
lot,
assumptions?
a lot.
So
Yeah,
many. So do you see a problem with that?
not at all.
Okay, so you know what the old saying, you make an ass out of you and me when you start assuming things?
Did you just assume that I exist?
Yes, in order to have
Yeah.
this conversation. I mean, we can
And
get
if
into
I
hard
exist,
solipsism, sure, why not, right?
then
I mean,
using that.
are you just being obtuse because it's funny, or
No, I'm not being obtuse. I'm being
you are
very
being
serious.
obtuse?
I want to open up logic textbooks with you.
That's fine. And as if I actually was interested in opening up a book with you. And by the
So
way,
you're
it's The
so you're
Philosopher's Way by John Chaffee, fourth edition. But again, if you don't even know how to correctly spell the word prescriptively or descriptively, I'm not sure if you're going to be much very help to me in
wait.
any of these
Okay, so
topics.
wait. No,
Because
wait.
again, I'm assuming because you've read these books and you've seen these words, you know how
Yes.
to properly spell those words. Am I correct?
Yes,
Okay, but you
absolutely.
continuously
And
misspell them. And so
did you
rather
now
than me browbeat you about
hold on,
that,
drag.
I let
Hold
it
on,
go.
drag.
Did I not?
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Actually, I put an asterisk actually correcting my spelling literally 2 seconds after I noticed the misspelling because I my fingers are hasty.
After you had made it for the third
Did you
time.
just did you just assume I don't know how to spell prescriptively just because I hit the wrong key on my keyboard?
No, you didn't hit the wrong key.
You know what they
It
say
literally
about
looked
people
like
who
you
make
hit the
an
keyboard with
ass,
your
who
face and put a
assume
P at the
things.
beginning and a Y at the end.
They're PRESCRIPTEVELY.
Oh, now you know how to spell it.
Yeah, I
Now you
told
can
you.
spell it. Man, only if you could have done that earlier. So I assume that
Yeah.
because you supposedly read these books, that you could
No,
take the
no,
time
what?
to actually spell out so I don't
Drag.
have to parse
No,
out
drag.
this
What you
gibberish that's
assumed?
in front of me.
No, what you assumed is that since I hit the wrong key, then therefore I don't know how to misspell or spell or whatever. That's what you did. So according to
So
your
I made
own
an
logic,
assumption.
so you made an assumption.
I don't see a problem with assumptions. I love
Now,
this game
okay,
of being
okay,
obtuse. This is fun.
okay. So you don't see a problem with the assumption there, right? Now I
So
just want
no,
to open up. I
I
just want to
do.
open a
No,
logic
that's the fun
textbook with
thing.
you.
That's the fun thing. So again, why do you think I want to open up a book with someone who can barely hold a conversation?
We're conversating right now, aren't we?
We're conversing in the most charitable sense, in that I'm entertaining your idiocy up to a certain point.
Well, I am entertaining what I think you think I is illogical on my perspective too. I
What
understand
is
that.
why do I
That's
give
just
two
called
shits? Why
that's
do I
just
give two
called the
shits
that's
about your
just called the
perspective?
principle of charity,
Okay,
right?
so tell me why I give two shits about your perception.
Because you're a human being, right?
And there are lots of people. There are tons and
Yeah.
tons and tons of people who exist, and I don't give two shits about their existence.
Yeah. Right. So could you explain to me logic here? No, I understand that. That's fine. But I wouldn't open up a hangout and take the time to talk to them if I didn't consider something that they were saying as something that needs to be talked about, right?
So, what specifically did I say that was worthy enough to have a hangout about or a discussion about?
Well, let's open up the Introduction to Logic by Irving
Okay,
M. Covey and Carl
what
Cohn.
specifically did I say to elicit this conversation? You made a remark, and I'm actually curious.
Well, basically what I wanted to show you is there are proper methods in logic textbooks.
Okay. Did you not just say that there's something specifically that I had said that elicited this conversation? Did you not just say that?
Yes,
Okay.
you're improper.
Specifically,
Yes.
before we go on, specifically, what was that statement that I made?
It wasn't your statement. It was the way that you improperly utilized these methods to define terminologies, you know, in logic textbook. I mean, these are objective rules in logic textbooks.
Okay,
for
so
all
when was this? When did this happen?
Just not too long ago, actually.
Is this in a hangout? Somebody else's hangout? My hangout?
Yeah, somebody else's hangout.
So who is this somebody? I need some kind of context.
No, you don't. You know where you came from.
Okay, so
otherwise
bullshit.
You
bullshit, and you're wasting my time. Go learn how to fucking read.
You wouldn't have been
idiot.
able to find it.
Goodbye.
Let's open it up to page.
Okay, there we go. Sorry, folks. I had to entertain a troll. I'm heading out. Y'all have a good fucking day. That's your entertainment for the day. Eat a bag of dicks, internet bitches.